Hey Reddit, first time posting here, and I honestly never thought I'd be that guy posting in a relationship subreddit asking for advice because his life just imploded. But here I am. Strap in. It's a ride. So I've been married to my wife, let's call her Jess, for 5 years, together for 8. High school sweethearts who reconnected in our mid 20s, whirlwind romance, yada yada. You know the type. Everyone always said we were that couple who seemed like they had it all figured out. Picture perfect to the outside world, but looking back, maybe I was just blind. The first few years of marriage were honestly amazing. We traveled, adopted a dog, bought a little fixer upper house we were slowly working on together. We fought sometimes like any couple, but nothing out of the ordinary. She was smart, funny, driven, a little impatient sometimes, but I chalked it up to being ambitious. I was proud of her, proud to be with her. But about 6 months ago, things shifted. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. It was little things. You ever get that gut feeling that something is just off? She started working later, like constantly. Her phone was always on silent. She suddenly had passwords on everything, which was weird because we used to be totally open about that stuff. She started going out with coworkers for drinks more often, but when I'd ask who, it was always vague. You don't know them, babe, or it's just a group thing. One night, she came home at 2:30 a.m., drunk and reeking of a cologne that sure as hell wasn't mine. She said it was one of the guys from the office who hugged everyone goodbye and that she was just being social. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. But something about the way she looked me in the eye and smirked when she said it, my stomach dropped. I should have trusted my gut then, but I didn't. I let it slide. I wanted to be wrong. That was the beginning. About a month after that 2:30 a.m. incident, things got worse. Jess started picking fights over absolutely nothing. Like one time I left a dish in the sink, literally one plate, and she went off about I never help around the house and how she's exhausted from carrying this relationship. That one hit me in the chest because I've always been the guy who tries to make things easier for her. I cook, clean, take the dog out, handle the bills. So hearing that, yeah, it stung. I started noticing she was glued to her phone, always texting, always smiling at the screen. But the moment I got close, the phone would flip face down like it had a panic button. She also started showering as soon as she got home, something she'd never done before. It was subtle, but I was watching. Every red flag piled up like bricks on my back. Then came the smoking gun. I was doing laundry one night because, surprise, surprise, Jess hadn't touched it in weeks. I grabbed her gym bag. Yeah, she had suddenly gotten very into hot yoga twice a week and found a crumpled receipt from some hotel downtown. A fancy one, the kind we'd never book unless it was an anniversary or something. The date, 2 nights prior. The time, 10:47 p.m. Her excuse that night was drinks with the girls after class. That receipt felt radioactive in my hands. I just sat there on the floor of the laundry room, staring at it for like 10 minutes, trying to come up with any innocent explanation. But there wasn't one. She had never mentioned a hotel. She had no reason to be there. My heart was thudding in my ears. I took a photo of the receipt, put it back exactly where I found it, and waited. I didn't sleep that night. The truth had teeth. After finding that hotel receipt, something in me just snapped. I wasn't going to let this slide. Not this time. I wasn't going to be the clueless, trusting husband sitting in the dark while his wife played him for a fool. So I started paying attention, like really paying attention. I stopped asking questions. I stopped acting suspicious. I played it cool, calm, even affectionate. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, texted her sweet little things during the day, and acted like everything was fine. Meanwhile, I became a full blown detective. I checked our shared bank account more often. Turns out Jess had opened a second account months ago that I didn't know about. How did I find out? She left a bank statement in the trash one morning before heading out to yoga. Yeah, I went dumpster diving like a raccoon for that one. I also installed a cheap GPS tracker under her car. Don't come at me. I needed the truth. I wasn't going to confront her with just feelings and suspicions. I needed evidence. Sure enough, on the nights she said she was going to yoga or girls' night, the tracker pinged her at the same damn hotel. Same address, same pattern. Always 7:30 p.m. to around midnight or later. This happened 3 times in 2 weeks. The last time, I drove out there myself, parked a few blocks away, just sat there watching the lobby like some sad movie cliche. At 11:12 p.m., there she was, walking out, laughing, holding hands with some guy, tall, clean cut, beard, leather jacket, not a coworker, not a friend. This wasn't just drinks. She kissed him, not a peck. A full on, slow, lingering kiss. Then they got in his car and drove off. I just sat in my car, hands shaking on the wheel. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't cry. I felt like I was watching a version of my life burn from the outside. That was the night I decided I was done playing dumb. I didn't sleep that night either. The next morning, Jess came into the kitchen like it was any other Tuesday, hair in a messy bun, still in her robe, sipping her coffee and scrolling on her phone. Same smug little half smile she always wore lately, like she knew something I didn't. I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't plan to confront her that morning, but the words just came out before I could stop myself. "So, how was the hotel last night?" She froze, just for a second, blinked, tilted her head like a confused puppy. "What are you talking about?" I held her gaze and said, "I saw you. I was there. I saw you with him, the guy with the leather jacket. I watched you kiss him." Boom, there it was. Her face went completely blank. Then came the most insulting part. She laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not a panicked laugh, a cold, dismissive little snort like I'd just said the most ridiculous thing in the world. "You're spying on me now? That's insane. You need help." Gaslighting, level 100. I stayed calm, told her I had the hotel receipt, photos of the car tracker, even saw them with my own eyes. She tried to twist it, said he was just a friend, that nothing happened, and that I was being paranoid and insecure. Then she flipped it, said I was the problem, that I was the one making her feel trapped, like she needed space, said she couldn't breathe around me anymore. I asked her directly, "Are you cheating on me?" She paused, looked down at her coffee, then said, "I don't know what we are anymore." That broke something in me. No apology, no guilt, just this cold detachment, like I was some inconvenience she had outgrown, like our marriage was just a phase she was done with. I didn't yell, I didn't beg, I just walked out the front door and drove until the gaslight came on. When I finally came back home later that evening, the house was dead quiet. Not a sound except the low hum of the fridge and the ticking wall clock Jess insisted on keeping, even though it was always 5 minutes slow. She was in the bedroom pretending to sleep. I could tell her breathing wasn't steady. Her phone screen lit up the covers every few minutes. I didn't say a word. Just closed the door to the guest room and lay down on the lumpy pull-out couch, staring at the ceiling in the dark. Funny how silence can be louder than any fight. The next morning, she was gone. Took her car, her gym bag, left a sticky note on the counter. "I need some time to think. Please don't make this harder than it already is." Harder? Lady, you just detonated our marriage. For the next 2 days, it was radio silence. I kept myself busy, walked the dog, cleaned the garage, reorganized the kitchen cabinets, anything to not sit still. But every time I passed our wedding photo in the hallway, I wanted to punch a hole through the wall. She came back on the third day. No apology, no explanation. Just walked in, tossed her bag on the couch, and said, "I'm tired," like I was supposed to tuck her in or something. When I asked where she'd been, she said, "With a friend." I said, "Was it the guy from the hotel?" She just stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked upstairs. No denial this time. That's when it really sank in. She didn't care anymore. Maybe she hadn't in a long time. I stood in the kitchen for almost an hour, just holding a glass of water, not drinking it. The world had tilted. I felt like a ghost in my own house. At this point, I wasn't even hoping for honesty anymore. I just wanted consistency. But Jess, she couldn't even keep her lies straight. The morning after she got back, she sat across from me at the table, acting like nothing happened. She actually had the nerve to ask if I wanted to go see her parents that weekend. Like, "What?" I asked again, "Who is he, Jess?" She rolled her eyes. "I told you, just a guy from yoga. He's going through a divorce, and we've just been talking. He needed someone to talk to. So now he's just talking, huh?" Must have been some deep conversational kissing in that hotel lobby. I said, "You expect me to believe you go to a hotel to talk?" Her response, "I didn't think you'd understand. You've been so distant lately." Distant. That word made my blood boil. I asked her flat out, "Have you slept with him?" She paused, just like before. Then, "No. I swear, it never went that far." But her voice was too calm. too smooth, like it was rehearsed. 2 days later, I checked her phone when she was in the shower. Yeah, I know it's messed up, but you reach a point where trust is dead and all that's left is desperation. She had deleted the messages, all of them. But guess what she didn't delete? A single selfie in her hidden folder. Her in lingerie I'd never seen before, taken in a hotel room I'd definitely never been in. Time stamped a week ago. Same date as the last yoga night. I put her phone back. Didn't say a word. Why? Because that was the moment I knew. There wasn't going to be an honest conversation. There wasn't going to be closure. She was going to lie until the end, until I either stopped asking or walked away. And suddenly, I started leaning toward the latter. I don't know why, but that picture on her phone hit me harder than anything else. It wasn't even explicit, it was just intimate. It was the kind of photo someone takes when they feel sexy for someone they're excited about. And it wasn't me. All the little illusions I'd been holding on to just crumbled. The idea that maybe she was confused, that maybe she was lost, that maybe we could talk this out, fix it, get back to what we had. Nope, she had moved on, emotionally, physically. She just hadn't told me yet. That day, I started packing a few things, quietly. My clothes, my laptop, toothbrush. Left the wedding album on the shelf, didn't even want to touch it. When Jess got home, she barely noticed the half-empty closet. She was too busy texting. Probably him. I finally said it. I'm going to stay at my brother's for a while. She looked up, deadpan. Why? I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane that she could be this detached. You really don't know? After everything? She just shrugged. I thought you were overreacting. I mean, we've been off for a while. Off? We had been married for 6 years. 6. You don't just say, we've been off, and call that your justification for cheating. No apology, no guilt, no effort. That night I left. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I didn't cry in front of her. I just walked out like suitcase in hand and drove to my brother's place where I sat on his couch and told him everything. He poured me a drink and said, dude, she's poison. You're better off without her. And for the first time since this all started, I started to believe him. So, I'm at my brother's place, trying to piece myself together with cheap whiskey and old episodes of The Office. It's weird how you can feel totally hollow and yet still feel every little thing, like you're emotionally numb but also constantly on the verge of a breakdown. Then, around 11 p.m., my phone buzzes. It's a screenshot from my friend Matt. Caption: Bro, is this her? It's from a dating app, Tinder. Profile name: Jess, 32, yoga instructor, free spirit. New photos, glamorous, filtered like she's never had a husband or a care in the world. I stared at it for a long time, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. I messaged Matt, where did you find this? He said she popped up on his feed 12 miles away, meaning she hadn't just signed up, she was actively swiping while I was still unpacking at my brother's. I downloaded the app just to confirm. I had to see it with my own eyes. Sure enough, there she was. Same pictures, same tagline, looking for real connection. Real connection? I wanted to throw my phone across the room. That was the final nail. She wasn't confused. She wasn't lost. She was shopping for a new relationship before our marriage was even legally cold. I messaged her, saw your Tinder profile, good to know you've moved on. She replied 10 minutes later, Death, you were never really present anyway. I didn't even respond. There it was, her truth, raw and unfiltered. She didn't regret the cheating. She resented the fact that I was in the way of her next fling. That night, I blocked her number and slept better than I had in weeks. It had been about a week since I blocked Jess. I was doing my best to move on, cutting ties, talking to a lawyer, staying distracted. But life doesn't always let you heal in peace. It happened at the grocery store, of all places. I had just grabbed a frozen pizza and was heading toward the checkout when I heard her laugh. That laugh. I turned the corner, and there she was, with him. Tall guy, gym build, backwards hat, looked exactly like the kind of dude who calls his exes crazy and never tips waitstaff. They were standing way too close in the snack aisle, giggling like teenagers. She reached into the cart and grabbed a bag of chips, playfully tossed it at him. He caught it and leaned in to kiss her, and she didn't even look around. No shame, no hesitation. I froze. My stomach dropped, but I couldn't stop watching. It was like seeing a stranger wearing your wife's skin. I didn't confront her, didn't make a scene. I just quietly left the store, left my cart, walked back to the car, and sat there for 10 minutes staring at the steering wheel. It hit me then not just the betrayal, but the replacement. I had been replaced, swapped out like an old appliance that stopped working, and she wasn't grieving or torn or confused. She was thriving, laughing, flirting, starting over without even blinking. And the weirdest part, that hurt less than the lies. Because at least now I saw the truth. She wasn't who I thought she was, not even close. After the grocery store incident, something in me snapped, but in a good way. The sadness started turning into something sharper. Not anger, exactly, just clarity. I drove back to my brother's, walked straight into the guest room, and opened the last box I hadn't touched yet, the us box. Wedding invitations, cards, love notes, a dried rose she gave me on our first anniversary. I sat there staring at it all, trying to feel something, but all I felt was done, so I grabbed a trash bag. Not in a rage, just methodical. One by one, I dropped it all in. The photos, the notes, the playlist CD she made me back when people still burned CDs. I even tossed the stupid keychain she brought back from our honeymoon, the one I carried on my keys like a badge of honor. I didn't burn it, didn't set it on fire in some dramatic movie moment. I just got rid of it because it didn't mean anything anymore. That night, I deleted our shared playlists, removed her from all my social media, unfriended her family. Her mom reached out the next morning with a sad little, "I'm sorry this happened." I didn't respond. I was done being the only one trying to carry the weight of a dead relationship. The truth was ugly, but it was also freeing. I'd spent months gaslighting myself, wondering what I had done wrong, why she felt distant, why things felt weird. But the truth was simple. She made a choice. She betrayed me. And now I get to choose myself. About 3 weeks after I moved out, I met with a lawyer, clean cut guy, mid 40s, straight shooter. I told him everything, no dramatic monologue, just facts. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "You've got more than enough grounds. Let's get this started." Filing was a weird feeling, liberating but also surreal, like I was walking away from a house that was already burned down but still holding the keys. I didn't tell Jess right away. I let the paperwork do the talking. She got served on a Tuesday. On Thursday, she called me from a number I didn't recognize. Voicemail said, "Hey, can we talk, please? Just one conversation. I owe you that." Against my better judgment, I met her. Neutral place. Cafe downtown. She walked in looking like she always did when she wanted something. Cute, polished, soft-spoken, like she was playing the good wife role again. I kept it cold, civil. She opened with, "I didn't expect it to go this far." I told her, "It went this far the second you checked into that hotel." She tried again. "I didn't sleep with him until after you moved out." And that was her final lie, because I had already spoken to someone who saw them together before I ever left. She didn't know that. She was still trying to control the narrative, still trying to paint herself as the victim of her own mess. I looked her in the eye and said, "You cheated. You lied. You kept lying. I'm done. No drama, just done." She teared up a little, not because she loved me, but because she lost control of the story. She asked if we could stay in touch. I said no. Then I walked out and I didn't look back. After that last meeting with Jess, things got quiet. No texts, no emails, just legal updates and the occasional message from my lawyer. And in the silence, reality set in. I was really starting over. The first few days felt weird, like I was walking around in someone else's life, eating dinner alone, folding laundry in a one-bedroom apartment that still smelled like fresh paint, sleeping in the middle of the bed, but weirdly, it was peaceful. No more walking on eggshells, no more wondering who she was texting, no more pretending everything was fine when I was dying inside. I started doing things I hadn't done in years, went hiking, picked up my guitar again, took a weekend trip by myself just because I could. I even signed up for a boxing class, which honestly was less about fitness and more about punching something legally. My brother checked in a lot, so did my mom. Even some old friends I hadn't heard from in forever reached out after they heard what happened. Turns out people do care. They just don't always know how to show up until you're in the rubble. I also started therapy. Best decision I've made so far. At first, I just wanted someone to listen without judgment. But after a few sessions, I realized how much I'd buried, not just from the cheating, but from years of trying to keep a marriage alive that was already on life support. It wasn't easy. There were still nights I'd wake up angry or sad or feeling like I had a hole punched through my chest. But every day, it got a little better, and for the first time in a long time, I started to feel like me again. Just when I thought the storm had finally passed, life threw one more curveball. It was a Thursday night. I had just gotten back from the gym, halfway through reheating leftovers, when my phone lit up. Jess's mom. I hadn't blocked her, figured she meant well, and honestly, I just didn't have the energy to clean up every digital trace of that side of my past. Her message was short. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve any of this. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I stared at it for a while. Part of me wanted to delete it immediately. Part of me wanted to know why she was reaching out now. So I replied, appreciate it. Why now? She responded almost instantly. I didn't know how bad it really was. Jess told us you were controlling, said you never listened, never cared. I believed her until I saw her Tinder profile and the texts. She's with someone else already. I just wanted you to know I'm ashamed of her. It hit me harder than I expected. Not because I needed her mom's approval, but because it confirmed something I hadn't even dared to say out loud. She'd been rewriting the story, telling everyone I was the bad guy, that I pushed her away, that I broke her. Classic deflection. I thanked her for the honesty, but said I didn't think staying in touch was healthy. She understood. That night, I sat in the dark for a while, thinking about how easily people can twist the truth when they don't want to face themselves, how fragile reputations are, and how important it is to know your own truth, even when no one else sees it. Because in the end, the truth does come out, even if it takes a while. It's strange how healing doesn't come with fireworks. No big moment of triumph, no epiphany at 2 a.m. It just creeps in quietly, like the first time I laughed without bitterness, or when I made dinner and didn't feel that ghost sitting across the table, or when I walked past her favorite coffee shop and didn't flinch. That's what freedom feels like. Not dramatic, just light. The divorce finalized quicker than I expected. No big fights. She didn't contest anything. Maybe because she didn't want her lies dragged into the light, or maybe because she just didn't care. Either way, I signed the papers, sent them off, and I swear I felt lighter the moment I dropped the envelope into the mailbox. Since then, I've built a life that's mine, not ours. I've reconnected with old friends, said yes to things I used to put off, live music, road trips, even a pottery class. Don't laugh, it's actually therapeutic. I've focused on work, hit the gym harder, and I'm sleeping better than I have in years. Some nights, yeah, I still think about her, not with love, not even with anger, just distance. Like remembering a book you once loved, then reread and realized it wasn't actually that good. That's the gift of perspective. Freedom isn't just leaving someone behind, it's rediscovering yourself on the other side of them. If you're reading this because you suspect something's wrong in your relationship, trust your gut. Seriously. It's rarely wrong. We gaslight ourselves way more than anyone else does because we want to believe the person we love wouldn't betray us. But they can, and sometimes they do. Here's what I've learned. Lies are never just small lies. If someone can look you in the eye and lie once, they can lie again and again. Cheating isn't a mistake, it's a decision, a series of them. Repeated, deliberate choices that require effort and planning. Love isn't enough. It's not. It doesn't matter how much you love someone if they don't respect you back. You can't carry a relationship alone. Silence says a lot. If they stop communicating, stop showing up, stop being present, they've already left in their heart. The truth will come out. Maybe not right away, but lies rot from the inside. Eventually, something breaks and the truth spills out. You are not weak for leaving. You're strong for refusing to stay where you're not valued. Looking back, I don't hate her anymore. I pity her. She gave up a good man for cheap thrills and lies. She lost the one person who stood by her when she was at her worst. And now, that's hers to carry, not mine. I'm not writing this for pity. I'm not here for revenge. I'm writing this because someone out there needs to hear that they're not crazy, that it's okay to walk away, that life does get better. It hurts like hell. But one day you'll wake up and realize you're free and you're stronger than you ever thought you were. Thanks for reading. And if you're going through it right now, I'm rooting for you. You'll be okay. I promise. A guy who walked through hell and came out clean.